Hi, this is Stephen Hewer with Cocoon Nutrition, and now there's a new and exciting way to detoxify the body of heavy metals. This is the subject that got me into nutrition, was mercury poisoning. And one of the things that people are unaware of is that the mercury that's coming off your teeth, or that came off your teeth throughout the time that you have had mercury fillings in your mouth, off gases and you inhale it into your body. You also get particles of it that go down into the digestive tract, and this goes into the circulatory system and gets impregnated throughout your entire body. The studies show on animals in which they put fillings into the teeth of monkeys or sheep that within 6 weeks the mercury is throughout all the organ systems, throughout the digestive tract, throughout even the nervous system. And wherever mercury deposits, it damages the cell's function. In the instance of a cell, the enzymes will no longer work. The trillions of enzymes that the body needs on a daily basis to create energy, detoxify, cause repair, create hormones, enzymes, neurotransmitters, all the proteins that are needed to be made, all those functions are to a degree diminished to the degree that mercury is in the body. And also, wherever that occurs, there's going to be localized acid pH. In other words, wherever mercury is deposited, you're going to have a localized deposit or localized inhibition of energy production and an excess of acid production. And this excess of acid production creates a localized acid pH, and the acidity pH controls oxygen levels. So when you have an acid pH, you have a low oxygen environment. When you have an alkaline pH, you have a high oxygen environment. And the acidic environment, low oxygen environment, creates an environment for anaerobic life to grow. Anaerobic life is anything that grows in the absence of oxygen. So this means that funguses and virus spontaneously grow in those tissue areas. And also, it's an environment for a cell to be converted, a normal cell, to be converted into a tumor cell, which is a cell that makes energy in the absence of oxygen. So most people are unaware of this, and they have fungal problems in their body, whether you want to call it Candida albicans, or different kinds of fungus that grow on the body, or even on the skin, whether that's foot fungus or jock itch, or different toenail fungus. These are all conditions of localized or whole body systemic excess acidity, and frequently, in 98% of most people that I've worked with over the years, especially if you're born prior to the 70s forward, 70s backwards, you're in a category of people, or a time where the dentists use mercury fillings as a filling material. The silver fillings in your mouth, even though they're silver colored, are not mostly silver, they're mostly mercury. And in some instances, the silver color is entirely mercury, and it's amalgamated with copper, and there's no silver present. So this is a serious matter, because whatever ailment that you deal with in your body, whether it's mild energy problems, or whether it's digestive problems, or whether it's joint pain or problems, or whether it's inability to sleep, or inability to think clearly, or even in the category of being autistic, all these conditions have, as a contributor or as a direct cause, mercury in the body. And more mild problems that a person may have frequently also have mercury as a foundational problem that goes undiagnosed because doctors are not trained to look for this or understand its implication. But I'm telling you from experience, it's at the foundation of a lot of disease in people's bodies, and they will treat symptoms with herbs, with nutrients, with supplementation, and never get at the cause, and thus chronically have the problem and never resolve it. And that's why you're hearing this video. So it's important to know that there's different ways to detoxify mercury out of the body. And over the 20 years that I've been doing nutritional counseling, studying how to detoxify mercury, there's various ways that I've been introduced to. And for the last 7-8 years, I've been introducing people to a product called Mercury Magnet, which has been exceptionally effective. We've had clinical results where a couple of men, one recently reported, that their brain fog goes away in 2 months. One multiple sclerosis person who's use of her limbs became strengthened so that she could like go downstairs without needing, I guess, to hold the railing. Another couple of children where the mothers reported that the autistic boys improved by 90% while on Mercury Magnet. And Mercury Magnet's great. So for those that's all they can afford, that's a great place to start. But it's been my experience that mercury will deposit in the body, and some of it is removable with the Mercury Magnet, but some of it can remain still in the tissue systems and requires a more thorough approach to rid the body, you could say 100%. Now there's two forms of mercury you're trying to get rid of. One is mercury that comes from fish. Fish consume algae in the ocean. The algae have converted mercury in the water into a methylated mercury. The fish consume the algae and acquire methylated mercury in their tissues. And methylated mercury is the most toxic and difficult to deal with. And also the bacteria in your digestive tract will convert some of the mercury that comes off your teeth into methylated mercury as well. And then there's also just pure metallic mercury, and that form is a little bit less toxic, but still they're both toxic. But it's these two forms of mercury that you're trying to rid your body of, so it requires a little bit of sophistication in introducing the right types of chelator substances. So I'm really happy to say that I've come across the most sophisticated, comprehensive, and I believe most effective way to detoxify mercury from the body. And that is a combination of several products that you can see in the body of this email, and or the link to go to the page that would show it to you. And there'll be more links in there to describe on how to use these products. But one of them is called IMD, which stands for Intestinal Metal Detox, which is created by Christopher Shade, a PhD who studied and developed this whole protocol. And this is brilliant work. I'm really grateful to Christopher. And this IMD is basically a silica compound impregnated with thiol groups. Thiol groups are sulfur compounds that are also naturally found in garlic, but this happens to be a more sophisticated approach. And when you take this, the thiol sulfur groups will bind to mercury in your intestines and detoxify your entire intestinal tract of mercury. And that's a real winner, because in order for your whole body to rid itself of mercury and other toxins, the digestive tract has to be working correctly. And you have to get rid of the inflammation in the gut. The inflammation is caused by the mercury being there. The mercury being there causes the enzymes of the tissue structures of the cell lining of the intestines to not work correctly, and again create that acid pH and the fungal growth, the consequent irritants produced from the fungal growth, the alcohol, the fungal toxins, the excess acids, all irritate the intestinal lining, and any putrefaction or poor food digestion that occurs from that. Dead fermentation and putrefaction of foods creates more irritation to the intestinal lining, and the irritation creates the inflammation. Once you have the inflammation, your gut is incapable of absorbing your nutrients optimally, and creates a whole problem there with regards to your energy and everything else, and detoxification. So it's important and imperative that a person detoxify the intestinal tract really thoroughly of all the heavy metals that are in there, particularly mercury. The IMD is the product that does that. The other is at the tissue level, we want to be able to get out all the mercury that's in the brain and in the tissues and in the joints, so that you can regain all the energy production, all the mental clarity, all the sense of well-being that your body's fully capable of handling and doing if that mercury is out of the way. And so there's several other supplements that are needed to support that process. One is called liposomal glutathione. So glutathione is a tripeptide amino acid, or tripeptide, that is a very powerful antioxidant that can neutralize 1 million free radicals per second, much more powerful than antioxidants that you would take from a plant form. And so when you try and take glutathione as a supplement in its pure peptide state, the body will digest it and break it down back into amino acids, and then your body's cells have to reassemble it, and that whole process is very inefficient, not effective. So this is a technology that's taken and wrapped up the peptide into a fat,